The first thing you do is take off what I call the finger keeper. That's this little plate right here. I also call it the tail. It looks a little bit different on your guitar than this one, but you just loosen these two bolts, put them in a cup or something. Spin those out. That part, it may be sunken into the lacquer on your guitar a bit, so it may take some prying to get out. Don't damage any aluminum. Give me a call if it's a hassle to take out. Okay, next we put her on the bench. This may seem redundant, but we're going to do this one string at a time. It's the easiest way to not get confused and make sure everything goes back together the way it came apart. So the first thing you want to do is go string by string. And we're going to do this first string tonight. And you want to identify the hole that it's in, and you want to identify which lever it's attached to. The hole that it's in, the string it's on, and which lever or pedal it's attached to. So you write down that information, and here is how you call out the holes. This is the first. Ignore these threaded holes. Up the very top hole, ignore. The next hole is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on to 7. 1 is the closest to the top of the guitar. You're working upside down, so keep that in mind. It's super important that you do this really carefully and exact, that you record these things correctly. Okay, so once you've recorded, here's an example. String 1, it's on number 4 on the left knee right. Okay, so once you've recorded it, you're going to remove the nylon tuner. So just twist it all the way off. Everything should stay where it is. Pull that off, put it in your cup, pull off the nylon spacer that's in there, put it in your cup. Then come up to the bell crank that it's attached to. In this case, it's buried through this other one, but you take a 1/16 inch Allen wrench and put it into the set screw. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. We loosen it, we pull out the pull rod, and we pull the pull rod this way into the guitar. Now, we come up here next, and we remove the return spring. This is the lower return spring. We remove it from the guitar. Loosen this. Oh, it's a long screw. Remove that spring, put it in your cup. Then you'll need some needle nose pliers, or on some of these, on your guitar, it's a 12 string and there's a lot of stuff going on, so you may need some hemostats later, or a long pair of needle nose pliers. And for that, you reach in here, grab this, get that pull rod out of our way. Reach in there any way you can, grab that nylon beaded cable thing, whatever. And now we're almost ready to take the finger out of the guitar, but the last thing we have to do is loosen the string from the tuner. For the most part, This is a string that I just put on the other day for another demonstration, so I'm saving it. But you'll just cut your strings and put on new ones is what I recommend. So once that string is disengaged, the helper spring and the lower spring are done, then your finger pops out. And there's the assembly. So then you're going to take your new string, get your new string ready, and you're going to take this spring and replace it onto the finger through this little loop here on the finger you're replacing, and you're just going to put it back into the guitar. Pull the string out. You just drop it into the guitar with the guitar upside down. This is the new finger that I've sent you. And then we put on the return spring. In this case, we don't go exactly opposite what we did to get here, but you'll have an outline of all the steps. So we put the return spring back in. And that holds the finger firmly in place for us. You don't have to tighten the return spring all the way, but for now, you're better off you're best off tightening it all the way till it stops and then backing it off 5 whole turns or so. We'll go over this on the phone or something later. There's something important about these that you need to check before you tune your string up, or before your final tune up and everything. Okay, so now we're going to put our pull rod back in, and my sheet says that this was hole 1. That sheet that I showed you is from another guitar. So I put the pull rod in. You'll notice this is a bent rod. Your guitar almost certainly has some bent rods on it. Take note of which way the bend goes. In this case, it points up at us. And we get in there. I'm going to block the camera here for a second. Here's a fine point that's very important. When you put your rod in and it's secured in the bell crank, you want the end of it to be approximately even with the inside of the frame, or the gap between the frame and this part of the changer here. It's really hard to see the rod. Can you see it poking in and out there? So that's the rod. You want it approximately even with that line. Inside by 2-3 millimeters is fine as well. That ensures that your tuner will have enough threads and it's going back on in the correct position. So now we put our tuner back on. Remember, you don't have a string on, so just get the tuner on a few turns for now. Then you're going to reach back in here with your pliers and reattach this little beaded doohickey onto that bar. Ideally, you've taken note of which ball it's on, because you can see it's adjustable. Okay, so now everything's back together underneath the guitar. It's time to put the string back on. I know you know how to do that, but we're just going to do it really quickly so that I can show you this other last very important thing. Put our strings in, we bring the tuner all the way or very near the top. We put the string through. From side angle. string through, we pull it up with our pair of pliers. And without tightening the string yet, we lower the tuner back down so that there's just a little break angle here that is going down to the tuner. Then we just simply pull the string over the tuner screw, tighten it up. Once you've put the string in and it is up to pitch, you'll tighten your nylon until the change starts to engage. What you want to do in the case of all the raises only, is when you pull this lever, when you pull the lever or push on the pedal that your string is attached to, if it's a raise and this string moves, this spring moves, it needs to be tightened. And once you get it tight enough, you'll be able to raise the string and it won't move. Like that. Make sure that's not moving when you do your raise, or the guitar won't work correctly. It won't tune up and be timed. So there you have it. It's all back together. Now let's talk on the phone before you get started. Thanks.